We empathise with many parents out there struggling to fill their child's lunchbox with the right kind of nutritional punch they need to get them through their day. Cindy Chin, the dietitian from Woolworths, joins us now. Hopefully we whet your appetite a little bit earlier. We've got some very, very nutritious treats here, but let's talk about the relevance, the importance of making sure that you've got these nutrients in your child's lunchbox. Why do we need that power punch?
Well, firstly, it still falls on us as parents and caregivers to actually supply the right building blocks for our children, because they can't go to the fridge and pack their own lunches. So that's ideally
I beg
what
to
we
differ. I'm sure some out there would love to, yeah.
No, we train them towards that. But initially, we're responsible for that. So it's important to then give them enough variety and balance so that they get sufficient nutrients to support rapid growth and development, but also to support a busy lifestyle. Because in this day and age, I mean, kids' schedules are already packed and they do need the energy to get them through the day.
It's that balance. It's not only the growing nutrients, but they've got to have enough energy to be able to make that 6 o'clock karate or whatever is on their roster. So give us some ideas. How can we start to include this well-balanced approach within our lunchboxes?
So the first thing to do is to plan ahead. So and it's actually a good idea to get your child involved as well. As I mentioned earlier, it's no good planning this beautiful lunchbox and your child comes home with it fully packed, which I've had before, so don't. So it's not. It does happen. So get them involved in the planning, and then look at balance and variety. So try to include some food from each of the different food groups, so that they do get, say, dairy and whole grains and fruits and veggies and all the sort of good nutrients for good building blocks. And then I think packing is also very important. Nothing's worse than a leaky lunchbox or soggy sandwich.
Yeah, you want the stuff to be fresh when you whip it out.
So put it in a cooler bag. What I sometimes do is I freeze half a bottle of water overnight and then top it up in the morning so that it's actually defrosted by the time that they want to drink it, and it keeps the food cool as well. So dual function.
I think so much of this says to me that you have to be very aware, yes, of your child's likes, but also if there are any allergies or any dislikes, anything that's not going to agree with them, you want to make sure that you've got that covered. How important is it to be able to read our labels, know exactly what's going into that lunchbox?
I think most mamas and caregivers probably are quite familiar with reading food labels, but just be aware that food labels and recipes change. They tend to change at any moment in time. So don't assume that a product that you've been using all along is the same all the time. So just read the food label. At Woolworths, we always indicate whether there is an allergen present by putting it on an allergen bar at the back of pack. But always check labels, and then also don't try something new. Don't send something new to school with a child for the first time. Test it at home first, just in case, to make sure that they tolerate it. And especially for someone who is having to avoid a certain food group or whatever, just make sure that you do provide a substitute. So if they can't eat wheat or gluten, then make sure that there's some other starchy whole grain in place if they need that to support the energy through the day.
And I suppose ultimately it speaks to creating a culture where you're eating this kind of food at home anyway. Don't expect your child to just suddenly change their dietary habits because they're at school. Make sure that this is continued throughout their diet.
Yeah, so this is part of the process of teaching them healthy eating habits, which you hope that they would then carry on through to adulthood. So.
Oh, she says you hope. You hope. Cindy, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Some great ideas there, and I know that we can constantly get into Woolies to get some fantastic ideas as well as to how to entice kids into that lunchbox at break. But Cindy, thank you so much for joining us. All the best to you and your team for the new year.
Thanks, and you too.